Huge result for Manchester United today, winning 2-1 against Chelsea. The Blues, they haven't won a Premier League match at Old Trafford in 11 years. But maybe you could argue the match was over 5 minutes in when Sanchez was sent off. Then Maresca made some interesting changes. Then Cole Palmer had to come out with an injury. So yes, it's a loss and it's disappointing from a Blues perspective. But is there more context to today, JD?
Yeah, contextually, I think it's a little bit deeper for Chelsea because they probably would look at this as an opportunity for them to really establish themselves against what's still considered one of the biggest teams in the country. And you talk about that record, Pops, in terms of 11 years and how many times have they gone to Old Trafford and thought, this is the time to attack Manchester United. Tactically, there are still, let's say, question marks about what the philosophy is. The squad depth and the comparison between the two starting 11s, you would have probably favoured Chelsea right now. And the momentum they've had since the Club World Cup all the way through now, this is probably the strongest Chelsea team with the amount of consistency, especially under Maresca. So this was an opportunity today, and again, it's individual errors that have stopped a massive chance for them to establish themselves in this title race.
Yeah, individual errors also, not just on the goalkeeper, Sanchez, who missed times it like crazy. Goalkeeper's a little funny sometimes with the timing. He gets it wrong, gets a red card 5 minutes into the game, fine. But they're also beat on one long ball. It's a long ball into the striker flicks it on. There's a gap, a huge gap in there, and now the goalkeeper has to make a play. The red card comes. So let's handicap the game now, right? Haven't won there in 11 years. They get a red card. Maresca has to sub out his two wingers, right? Two very important players, Estevao and Neto, early on. Then 20 minutes later, they get another treat. Cole Palmer, one of the best players in Europe at the moment, one of the hottest players in Europe. This is the red card here. Has to come out of the game. So right now, the game is totally handicapped in favor of Manchester United. They have a lead in the game, and this is an easy opportunity. Then, right before halftime, how many times have we said, JD, when you're playing football, hey, guys, let's get to half. Hey, guys, 5 minutes left. Hey, guys. Because goals before halftime or moments before halftime can change the game. Casemiro, second yellow card. Unbelievable, right? You could not script it, right? A player with that kind of experience, Champions League, has won everything in the game. To get a second yellow in that moment just before half to let Chelsea back into the game. And then with moments left to go in the game, 10, 15 minutes left to go, another set piece, the set piece monsters again. And every week we come in here and we go, Amorim bad, Amorim out, right? Amorim's got to leave. But at some point you have to say also to the players, Casemiro, what are you doing? Set pieces, right? Set pieces are all about character. You can work on set pieces for 20 hours a week and your team will become no better at set pieces. It's all about, do you have the guys that want to put their face on things? Do you have the guys that go and tackle balls? Do you have the guys that with 5 minutes left will say, hey, you, don't lose your marker. Hey, you, step up, organize in those moments. Do you have those guys? And with 10 minutes left to go, with a man up early on in the game, to concede a goal in that way and to limp over the edge is just crazy. You have to put responsibility on the players at some point as well. And you have to see that both teams are a little bit fragile. Maresca maybe overdoing it with the double substitution of both wingers at the same time. But really interesting game. And like we said from the beginning, Amorim is responsible to get results there. We don't want to hear about the project anymore. Gets the result, you have to applaud it, and they move on to the next week. So good for Manchester United, good for Amorim.
After the dust has settled, though, maybe we won't remember all these particular moments of the match, and it'll just be, this is a big win against Chelsea. Was it a job-saving win today for Ruben Amorim?
I think his attitude on the touchline tells you how much he can feel the pressure. I mean, the pacing up and down, the scrutiny. At no point did he look like he was actually enjoying what was happening out there, because truth of the matter is, it's been big investment in this team. Once you have big investment, that requires big expectations, which leads to you having to deliver in terms of results. We can talk about, oh, he needs development and this isn't his squad. No, it is his squad now. You've had a pre-season, they understand your philosophy, or to the best of their ability. And so that means that there has to be, as Grella was just alluding to, results on a consistent basis. There's no way we can be talking about the stats that we're alluding to today of almost 2 years since a Manchester United manager at home has had back-to-back wins in the same season. That is unheard of. It's unacceptable, especially when you have Sir Alex in the stands, who's arguably the greatest manager that's ever been on the touchline for that football club. When I look at the overall picture and the direction, it creates more question marks, more clouds, but he does live another week, because at the end of the day, you did get a win, which is the most important factor.
I mean, Grella, we saw him pacing on the sideline today, but coming into the match, he kind of put pressure on himself by the way he responded in the press conference when he was asked about how the meetings with the club went. And he said, well, Sir Jim Ratcliffe has offered me another contract, and was laughing about it. And the journalist said, you know, you've got to win matches here, right? Do you think that he's trying to use this and trying to alleviate some pressure that he knows is getting heavier and heavier?
Yeah, I think, and I've heard this across the board, that he has a really fantastic personality, I think, and so in those moments, yeah, he reverts to making a joke, and that's fine, right? It's great for us because we always like to see the person, the person on the other end of this. I think in the context of at Man United and the current situation and everything going on, I think the tension's so high that he's just like sort of like a nervous joke. It was sort of just like a quick joke, but. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a big job for sure. It's difficult for him to get it right. We always judge him and say at the end of the day, we don't care about the system. We want to see the results. He makes the joke. He gets the results. So we have to move on to next week and see.
Is he on a tightrope though, or do you think that this is just a bit of an illusion that the media and the press have him on this short leash?
Oh, what was the stat you told me before the game? 8 wins in 33.
Yeah.
I think that's a fact, and that makes the tightrope. That makes the tension. That is the mathematical equation that at Manchester United, that's not good enough, and that puts him under the tension. But yeah, if he goes on and his system works and he continues to do well, great for him and great for the club. But again, this one is difficult to judge given all the handicapping going on in the game. Yeah, they had to earn the red card, but the 2-goal lead, the handicapping of the game, obviously Cole Palmer going out with an injury, this is a difficult one to judge him on.
I just think sometimes, especially with his momentum charts, you can have a look at this and you won't be able to see the totality of the game. We've had a number of question marks here in the media, and no doubt about it, it's happened in those boardrooms too. Can you be flexible within your system? Grella will tell you, the game within the game is about being adaptable. There's a number of times within this match where you can switch in terms of the style in which you're playing, the formation in which you're playing, just to change your control on the actual 90 minutes of the actual game itself. I don't see enough adaptability or flexibility in terms of his system. So then what happens is, naturally, when you're playing against a team, doesn't matter if it's 10 or 11, you're still playing against professional players. They get used to your rhythm. They get used to what sets you're trying to run. And then more importantly, they then adapt. That's why you saw that momentum happen in terms of Chelsea for the last 30 minutes of that game, building towards it, because they finally understood what was in front of them. Manchester United need to understand, and more importantly, Ruben Amorim needs to understand, within a 90-minute game, it doesn't matter who you are or what it is that's in front of you, you need to show some flexibility. If you don't, you're going to keep getting the same results of disappointment over and over again.
Well, just one of the quotes he said, actually, he said, "Nothing is going to make me change my approach. Not once have I thought about changing it. Not even the Pope can make me. I will not change."
I feel like I'm pulling my hair up.
In the way that I play.
I feel like I'm pulling my hair up.
That means two things, though, for me. That's twofold, right? You have to stick to who you are, I think, as a manager and the system. Because if you're going to be successful, you're going to go down, you'd rather go down your way, right? So that's true. But then also what JD is saying is something different, right? So it's not all the same, You have to make adjustments. At the Premier League, at the highest level, you have to be able to make some type of adjustments. And so maybe he'll learn that as he goes. Maybe if he's giving more of a leash and he's given this project for another year or so, maybe he'll learn that as he goes. And majority-wise, stick to what he has. But there are moments in games when you have to manage games. I mean, I think the best clubs in the world have done that over the span of time.
Yeah, but if you can't change your approach, do you trust him to change the tactical tweaks during the match? Because maybe Grimsby Town is another good example of this, where we thought, when are the changes coming? How are you going to adjust to what Grimsby's giving you in this match? And it felt like, are those changes ever going to come? It's not the first time that we've seen him not adapt to what the game's given him.
I think the Grimsby example is such a perfect one, because when I start seeing players like Mason Mount out in a wing-back position, you're trying to fit players into your system and make them understand their tweaks. But more importantly, you need to recognise that you have players that have built their whole careers, have built their whole profession on being suited to certain positions. And your job as a manager is to bring the best out of them in those positions to thrive. You had all the cards today. You had a man advantage, you had the home advantage, and you were 2-0 up. That should have been a convincing way that you could demonstrate in terms of what your football is and implement your style on the game. And once again, we're sitting there questioning whether or not they were lucky to get out of this game with a victory. That's not a good position to be in.
Maresca's not in the greatest position either over the last couple of games. Obviously against Bayern Munich in the Champions League on Matchday 1, they lost 3-1 away just this past week. They've got Lincoln City coming up in the Cup game. Then they've got Brighton, Benfica, Liverpool. It's not an easy stretch, Grella. Do you think that he's under any pressure with his job in question?
I don't think any pressure, because now the dialogue with Chelsea, right? Everyone still wants to talk about Manchester United, but the dialogue with Chelsea is, okay, they're a young team. They spent a ton of money, new manager, new a way of playing, new way of seeing the game. They win the FIFA Club World Cup, so that obviously shows some real progress in the team. But that also gets old quick if you don't get results. And I just thought today it was a little bit overkill taking out 2 of your top players, 2 wingers. And normally you probably take out 1 of them and then put the goalkeeper in and then keep a couple attacking options. Also, you know, when you're playing Man United, who struggled so much, especially at home, I think you have to feel like there's something in it in the game. And there was no real response. Even when Casemiro went out right before halftime, there was no real response. There was just a couple moments that they rely on sort of a set piece to get themselves back into the game. But it's in a game where Man United, you know they're going to give you something later on in the game. I felt like they gave up too quickly, too early, and sort of rolled over. And then obviously against Bayern Munich is one of the top teams in the world. But you saw the level. You saw the difference in quality between Bayern Munich and Chelsea.
I just think it was an element of overthinking. This isn't me speaking for Maresca, because he's one of the best managers in the world, regardless, top of his field and everything else. But when you overthink sometimes, and maybe using Man United's situation against them, you know, when you put the 5 at the back and you think, could we frustrate them? And maybe we start getting into the last 20 minutes and we have something to build, and we can then start a new game from there. You know, go into the last 15, 20 minutes and there's a little bit more stretched, it's a little bit more open. But unfortunately, because of the errors that had occurred from the goalkeeper, of course, then capitalising on 2 goals, he had then almost finished the game without even consciously had done it, because of the changes that he had made. Because you then put yourself with 5 defenders on the pitch and know to yourself, I'm 2-0 down away from home. It's almost an impossible situation to get out of.
Yeah, and individual errors really did cost Chelsea today. Here's what Sanchez put on his Instagram story after the match, because obviously Grella, as a goalkeeper, he'll be feeling the full responsibility, and obviously I'm sure he apologised to his teammates. But today he put, on me today, guys, big sorry for that. The team put in a massive effort on the second half, but just couldn't get there.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't know. This is like the new wave of players, right? That they feel like they need to apologize on Instagram. That's fine. For me, JD also said this. You go into the changing room and you say, my bad.
That's who you need to apologize to.
It's teammates. It's a game of football, and these things are going to happen. This is not like he did something out of character or something. He was put in a situation where he had to make a decision. If he doesn't come out, well, then probably it's a little dink over his head in his game. It's 1-0 anyway. If he does come out, he's got to get the timing perfectly. He doesn't. So, okay, that's fine. I mean, we understand. But a red card 5 minutes in, it's not just on the goalkeeper. That's also on getting beat. Like I said, it's just 1 ball in there. Center back goes up, doesn't even get a piece if it doesn't win it, not close enough. And then there's huge gap where I think it's Mbomo is able to run into it. So these things happen in football, and obviously we know it's on you. We know it's on you. Red card 5 minutes in, it's on you. Yeah.
If the goalkeeper has to apologise, if Sanchez has to apologise, then Reece James and also Fofana have to apologise for not covering behind Chalobah, who loses the header, and he also has to apologise. So it's a culmination of different factors that just lead to that error and that decision being made. It's a poor decision from Sanchez, but at the same time, we've all been playing football long enough to recognise it isn't just one split of a decision. It's not like he got caught on his goal line trying to Cruyff turn somebody. Like he's been put in an almost impossible situation as a goalkeeper, and then obviously everything else has occurred.
I will say quickly too, like in this new age, obviously bad for us, but good for the people that managers want to speak out more. There's more interviews during halftime.
Would you put something on your Instagram story?
No. Sanchez going on after and apologizing to the world, basically. Hey, I made this really bad mistake. It's good for us. It's good for the fans. It's good for everything else. But just as like a tip for anyone moving forward in the game, like you lose games.
Just with the advice.
Get into the changing room. Like
you're a human being. You're gonna go for a season. You're gonna make a load of errors. Like it doesn't really matter.
I don't come on here and talk about all the problems I had with my wife and my family and everything. Like just keep it within the group, right? Like at some point you have to say, let's just keep this in the group, right?
I don't know. You do a good job of telling me about all your problems.
It's the wrong person to be saying.
You don't know the half of them. You're the other half of them.
No problem. Well, I think he can, Enzo Maresca, chalk today up to a series of bad mistakes and some unfortunate and some, it was just not their day, was it? But good win for Manchester United. 2-1 it finishes at Old Trafford.